world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open-wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 8 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League, live from Townsville tonight. Looking like it's going to be quite the field as we start qualifying now. For those of you who are new to the stream and joining us for the first time tonight, qualifying involves a shootout style, a top 10 shootout style, with the exception of that everybody else is on track, not just the top 10, whereby everybody gets one warm-up lap and then everybody gets a flying lap. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes for everybody and who can get where. Currently on screen is Jason Wilds. Currently we have 15 people tonight, so a little bit less than what we normally do as of what the last round was, but nevertheless still a good turnout, anyway. So guys, starting to start their laps now by the looks of it, as Jason Wilds comes through the final corner onto the front stretch to start his lap now. First person on their flying lap is Taylor Oakes by the looks of it. We'll try find him. There he is. Everybody else still on their warm-up laps. Jason Wilds has just started his as well, I believe. Still a couple of guys in pit lane as well, David Stevens and Peter Reid by the looks of it. Qualifying obviously being 5 minutes long, so there's plenty of time, although not too much. As Taylor comes through the final sector now. Coming through the final corner now, what's he going to do for provisional pole position? It's going to be a 1 minute 12.9. Jason Wilds not too far behind, is going to do a 1 minute 13.179. Daniel Bugler just behind them, starting a lap, I believe. Yes, he is, as Taylor Oakes has put it in the fence as instructed. Trying to find someone else on a lap here. Obviously Nathan Addis, Trevor Christensen will go with Trevor at the moment. Luke Dunsford completes his flying lap. Meanwhile, in the background with a 1 minute 13.502. Rob Derrick not too far behind Trevor at the moment. Apparently he got held up on his lap. Chris Bramley goes to pole with a 1 minute 12.372. Tony Dance with a 1 minute 12.794. So the rest of the field, Trevor Christensen does a 1 minute 14.017. So possibly you got held up there. Nathan Addison with a 1:14.412. We'll have a look at what David Stevens can do. Former Pro League champion, actually, in the Supercars series that we do at the moment. In 2014, if I'm not mistaken, he did win the championship over Josh Revel by a very narrow margin indeed. It's looking like it's going to be actually Daniel Bugler's put in a time with a 1 minute 11.995. No, Trevor Wilson goes with a 1 minute 10.948 to go pole. So Bugler moves down, gets shuffled into second there, as Dave comes through the final sector now, right on the edge of those tyres and the limit of the car. As he comes through the final corner, what's the lap gonna be? Or is he starting his lap? No, he's starting his lap, so he's only just made it. Peter Reid is coming through the first few corners, so he's on his lap currently, really throwing that car around all over the place. Oh, really on the limit of being just about in the fence. Oh, really throwing that car around at the moment by the looks of it. Actually quickly jump on board over those curbs, and quite aggressive over those curbs as well. So coming through the final sector now, what is Peter Reid going to do? He's dominated the past few rounds. Oh, very sideways out of the final sector there, the third to last corner, sorry. As he comes through the final corner to seal on a big sideways, plenty of right foot there. It's going to be a 1 minute 11.302. He's actually been pipped by Trevor Wilson, so Peter Reid will start in second position. What is David Stevens going to do here? Is he going to get pole, or is he going to not quite get it? He's going to get pole with a 1 minute 10.937. David Stevens is on pole for race 1 of round number 8. The man himself, a former Pro League champion, has definitely cemented himself in terms of showing that he is still got pace, even though he has been off for a whole year. So that is your order by the looks of it. David Stevens will start on pole, followed by Trevor Wilson will join him on the front row in second. Peter Reid and Daniel Beckler will start on the second row. Third row will be covered by Daniel Kinsman and Chris Bramley. Fourth row will be Tony Dance and Taylor Oakes. Fifth row will be Jason Wilds and Luke Dunsford. Sixth row will be Trevor Christensen, Nathan Addis, Paul Jaffa and Brian Newson, and Rob Derrick will finish out the rest of the field. Obviously Rob Derrick having that moment being held up by so it looks like actually Paul Jeff will start rear field actually, so Brian Hewson and Rob Derrick will move up one position, as he apparently was caught illegally blocking by the looks of it, according to race control. He impeded Rob Derrick's lap, and also he's done more than the number of laps that he should have, so he will start rear field. And as I said earlier, Brian Hewson and Rob Derrick will move up one position. So we will be back shortly for race number 1, which will be 20 laps long and require 1 compulsory pit stop at some point in the race. So we will be back shortly with race 1.
Go, go, go! The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open-wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League round number 8 at Townsville. We're about to go racing for race number 1. David Stevens and Trevor Wilson currently on the front row. Peter Reid and Daniel Bugler not too far behind in 3rd and 4th. Lights out and away we go. Looking like a good start from Taylor Oakes in the background there. Stevens with a good start as well as Trevor Wilson. They're going to fan out in the background. It's going to be pretty wild as we head into turn 1. It's looking like everybody's made all in contact with the wall on. Cars are on. A big crash in the background. Jason Wilds and Chris Bramley and a number of cars involved. Oh, an absolutely huge crash. That's an absolute big hit to Brian Houston. Houston's been turned by Wilds. Oh, jeez. On Bramley. Oh, Houston's facing the wrong way with Bramley. Oh, there's just cars everywhere. Oh, we'll quickly grab a replay of what's actually happened there and see what's unfolded. Go on board. Oh, so Tony Dance has actually lost it as they head through turn 1 into the wall, and then Wilds has been turned by Bramley actually, and then he's facing the wrong way. Derek's run into the back of Bramley, who's been slowing up, and then I think that was Paul Chaffers run into the back of Chris Bramley there, and then Houston's been hit by Wilds. Apparently there's something up the road involving Tony Dance. We'll quickly have a look as the drone follows in just behind. So so Dance has actually just run into the back of Taylor Oakes there. That's not ideal. He'll readdress that by the looks of it, and he has done. But unfortunately the damage has been done already to a number of these guys after turn 1 and lap 1, so we'll quickly jump back to live now with the current leading pack. So currently leading is David Stevens, followed by Trevor Wilson. We're currently focusing on the battle for third between Peter Reid, Daniel Bugler and Daniel Kinsman at the moment. Quite a good little battle at the moment, as just struggling to get the power down at the moment. These guys do have to remember that it's and there's contact further up the road with Trevor Wilson and David Stevens. I'm not on contact with Daniel Kinsman and Daniel Bugler at the moment. It's going all on at the moment. There's a bit of rough and tumble and a little bit of push and barge everywhere. So, yeah, it's pretty full on at the moment. It looks like Trevor Wilson just threw it up the inside he's just outbraked himself and thrown it up the inside, and he's just come together with David Stevens there earlier on. Oh, and Kinsman's been Reynolds has been involved by Bugler. Big shunt there. Oh, and Kinsman's run into Dunsford. Oh, Nate Addis is involved. Oh, massive hit. That's an absolutely atrocious turn of events here. Starting to become a bit of a familiar scene for me at the moment, seeing all this carnage unfolding in the first few laps of a race. But anyway, moving on, a number of these guys have the field's currently being shuffled up. It's not really can say much at the moment apart from all sorts going on. So it's looking like Luke Dunsford has moved up to third after what's happened at turn 2. On the second lap. Peter Reid has fallen back to 6th. Daniel Bugler's back to 8th. Kinsman's kept 4th by the looks of it, and he's probably going to make a move on Dunsford here at some point. Reid is probably going to get Addis here as Bugler's looking up the inside of Taylor Oakes here, and he gets the move done as Taylor has to has to do a double take at the corner just so he doesn't run into Bugler. Obviously braking at the same point, which is a bit of an awkward situation when you're a racing driver and that happens. Tony Dance also locked on a little bit of a battle here with Rob Derrick for the final spot in the top 10 as well. So a number of battles are actually happening throughout the field. So this is looking like it's quite a good race at the moment as Tony Dance possibly looks to make a move on Rob Derrick there, but doesn't get it done. Currently looking like everybody's starting to sort themselves out. We'll keep an eye on this battle for the podium actually, as Luke Dunsford and Daniel Kinsman going at it. Kinsman's actually got past. Dunsford looking to go around the outside. That's not going to work because he's going to get the better run out of the final corner, all a bit sideways there. Probably a bit too happy on the right foot pedal. As he's in the draft currently of Kinsman, he's going to look to go up the inside here at turn 2. Yes, he is. Is he going to brake late enough? He's up the inside. He's got the move done. Oh, but he's broke himself, and he's run wide, and that's allowed Addis and not quite Peter Reid. He's just made it in front of Peter Reid, but it will go defensive to hold off Peter Reid as he's going to possibly not quite look up the inside of Nathan Addis there as Peter Reid actually collects the wall on the exit of turn 3, sorry. Peter Reid using plenty of curb through around most of these corners. Oh, Nathan Addis with a big two wheels moment over the curb there, through the back chicane. As they come through the fast sweeping right-hander. Very easy to... Oh, and Bugler getting a very sideways through the same corner just behind. So it's looking like it's starting to spread out a little bit. Luke Dunsford seems to be losing a couple of places at the moment as Reid struggles to get the power down there as well out of the final corner. He's probably going to have Dunsford here at this second corner, I'd say, up the inside. Possibly. No, never mind. Dunsford goes defensive. Oh, bit of having to getting a little bit squirrely under brakes there. On Oakes has run wide there, and that's allowed Bugler and Derek through in the background. So now Derek and Bugler move up to... No, he hasn't actually got... Oakes has held that on. Bugler's on the fence there just behind, so that's going to allow Taylor Oakes to come back through, and I'm not sure this side by side. We'll have a look at this battle. It's pretty close at the moment, actually. Closest one on track from what I can see is using plenty of curb use. There's almost too much to actually look at, to be honest, in terms of what's happening on track. We're only 5 laps in. This is going to be quite a quick race, actually, with it only being 20 laps and 1 compulsory pit stop. So with lap times from Wilson and Stevens in the 111s and 110s, it's definitely not going to be too long of a race, as Bugler getting the power down slightly too early out of the final corner there. A lot of these guys seem to be struggling with power down exit oversteer at the moment, so not sure whether that's just primarily due to the fact that they're too aggressive on the right foot, or whether they're just not quite there with the setup yet. But nevertheless, they're still managing to hold their own, even though they get a bit Shane Van Gisbergen style out of the corner. But anyway, as Derek runs wide in the background there, just behind Taylor Oakes, Bugler looks like he's pulling away from Taylor Oakes at the moment, and Chris Bramley just there in the background is trying to make his way through the field. Obviously the current championship, well, he will be the championship leader after this, after the night's racing anyway. Currently sitting second, 1 point behind Craig Priest, as Reid looked to make a move there on Luke Dunsford. He hasn't got it done in the foreground just before. See if he's got it done quickly. We'll just look at this battle. Actually, where's Peter Reid gone? Peter Reid is in pit lane. So Peter Reid opting to do quite an early stop at this point. So that's quite interesting that he's decided to go short and then long rather than equal it out at roughly 10 laps in and then pit, which most of these guys would do, I'd say. I'm not sure whether anybody will go long and then short. I'd say probably majority of guys are going to go equal, as it's going to be easier on tyres, and also it's going to pretty much put you pretty much exactly in the same position as far as everybody else. And Luke Dunsford right up the inside with a bit of contact with Nathan Addis. That move was never going to work. Very audacious to try and launch it up the inside there. The gap was not really there, to be honest. He hasn't gained anything out of it, so there won't be much to look at in terms of that, although race control probably be looking at that and thinking that it was a bit over aggressive and possibly give him a warning at the end of the race. So this battle for 4th position is currently spinning out. Oh, Luke Dunsford getting a bit heavy on the throttle there. But as I was saying, the battle for 4th position looking like it's starting to spread out a little bit. Daniel Bugler is starting to slightly close in on Luke Dunsford here. Bugler with a 112.7 and then a 113.1. 56, sorry. whereas Luke Dunsford did a 113.018 and a 114.388 in the last 2 laps. So Bugler with a slight pace advantage here, so he's probably going to get him at some point. I would say in the next lap or so, as Bugler's gone deep under brakes into the hairpin there. Is Luke Dunsford also struggling for power down traction. I think Addis is into pit lane if I'm not mistaken. No, he hasn't actually, never mind. Optical illusion from my point of view. Brownlee's actually moved up the field actually. He's gained a number of positions. I'm not sure what's happening. Oh, never mind. It looks like Taylor Oakes and Rob Derrick have entered pit lane to complete their compulsory pit stop. So Chris Bramley now up to 7th position. I'd say he's probably going to hold on to that by the end of the race. There's a big corner cut from Luke Dunsford there. These guys have got to definitely be careful in terms of how much curb and track limit they use. Oh, on a big sideways, on a big tank save on. Luke Dunsford's been collected on. He's in the wall. Nathan Addis all over the place with a massive tank save out of the corner, just getting too wide out of the middle sector there. So that's allowed Bugler to go through into 4th position. Nathan Addis won't be happy one bit about that, and I don't think Luke Dunsford will be either, considering he got caught up in that, being an innocent bystander. And now Dunsford, Addis, and I think no, Bugler stays out, so Bramley's in as well. So the pit stops are now starting to happen. Sorry, is probably a better term. I believe that is Brian Hooson. Oh, Brian Hooson and Addis double stacking a pit lane, unfortunately. So that's going to mean that Addis is going to have a bit of a disadvantage with a longer stop and having to lose a bit of time. Bramley's actually just come out ahead of Dunsford. Dunsford's just behind, so Dunsford's lost out a little bit there. Addis has gained a couple of seconds, even though he's actually had a double stack there. Not sure how much he's going to gain on Bugler here. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when Bugler pits. So Bugler hasn't actually entered pit lane. He's gone for another lap. David Stevens has just exited pit lane. No, actually he hasn't. Never mind. So it looks like Kinsman, Bugler, Stevens, Tony Dance. I think Wilson's yet to pit. Yeah, Wilson and Reed. No, Reed's actually already done a stop. So the top 5 currently yet to make their pit stops. No, actually. Top 4, sorry, yet to all make their pit stops at the moment. No, actually, never mind. I'm getting confused by the time screen here. It's telling me false information. Well, I'm assuming false information anyway. So Kinsman, Bugler, and Dance are yet to make their pit stops. So 1st, 2nd, and 4th at the moment. I believe they will be coming to the pits now. Tony Dance stays out for another lap by the looks of it, and so does Kinsman and Bugler. They're currently on lap 12. Tony Dance about to start lap 12 as well. He's got Trevor Wilson not too far behind. This battle for, I believe, is 4th effectively, if I'm not mistaken. Or 5th, as Bramley just bounces off the wall there. Not quite sure what's happened, why that's happened, but possibly just a minor mistake. But anyway, this battle for 4th is going to be interesting to see what happens, as I think as Bramley should theoretically get at us by the end of the race. Luke Dunsford in the background there, going up the inside of Brian Hooson there, and Hooson getting a little bit loose in the background there. Hooson obviously going a lap down at the moment. Bramley's definitely closed that gap at the moment to Addis, so he's looking very racy. He should be able to get past Addis fairly quickly, I'd say. If not, I will actually be quite surprised, as Bramley is usually quite good in terms of pace. He's been quite consistent all year long, currently fighting for the championship. Oh, and a bit loose on the exit of the corner there. Just a little bit too much throttle as they come, as Addis and Bramley go past Paul Jaffa there. Luke Dunsford also doing the same down the front stretch as they start lap 13. Tony Dance has pitted. No, he hasn't yet. So a couple of these guys going quite long in their stints by the looks of it. Kinsman's pitted now. Came into the pits not too long ago in the last lap. So he's now down in 6th by the looks of it. Bugler is yet to pit. He's done 14 laps on those tyres, so he's going quite the distance, and I think Tony Dance is doing that as well. Yes, he is. Trevor Wilson, who has completed a stop, has actually got past Tony Dance as well in the meantime. So Tony Dance may want to think about starting to pit, as we'll actually just quickly focus back on this battle for what is effectively 4th on the racetrack. On both Addis and Bramley struggling to get their power down there. So I would say I'm surprised Bramley hasn't actually got past yet. I would have thought he would have done it earlier, but he's all over the rear end of Addis, and he's been like that for a couple of laps now, as Luke Dunsford runs a little bit wide there through turn 2. So we'll quickly have a look at what the lap time difference is between Bramley and Addis at the moment, with the fact that it's a battle on screen. Oh, and Bramley's run wide! That's going to cost him a little bit of time. But as I was saying, we'll go back to what the lap times were. So Bramley did a 1 minute 12.190 and a 1 minute 12.993. Bramley did his quickest lap in those last 2 laps. On lap 13 he did it. Nathan Addis has done a 1 minute 12.8 and a 1 minute 12.9. So Bramley's definitely got some pace advantage, and he's looped it through the final corner just about. He's only just held on to it, but that's definitely not going to have helped him at all. There's about 5 laps to go in this race, so Bramley will definitely be on the hunt to try and get that gap back down to what it was prior to that moment. You want to try and score maximum points here tonight, with the fact that his championship rival and the current championship leader, Craig Priest, unfortunately missing this round. Daniel Bugler is in the pit lane in the meantime, but anyway. So I would say Chris Bramley's going to want to be trying his best to try and obviously be conservative and not to throw away a good possible finish here tonight, but also be aggressive enough to the point where he's going to get a good finish. So it's that whole trade-off of being able to push it without just about throwing it away, as he almost does what I was saying he shouldn't do, as he's once again very sideways through the last few corners. I'd say he's probably overdone those tyres a little bit. Just needs to back it down a little bit and continue on. Bugler just coming out of pit lane now, so he's going to be ahead of Bramley. Bramley's going to have the run. He's going to go around the outside at turn 2. He's got the run. Side by side. Bugler's up the inside. If Bugler can hold it, he'll have the run to the next corner. And Bramley's overdone it again. Bramley possibly just getting a little bit frustrated here. We'll quickly jump on board as he's on the tail of Daniel Bugler. Nathan Addis is currently sitting at 5th, sorry. Daniel Kinsman's in 4th. 6th is Daniel Bugler, and Chris Bramley is currently sitting 7th. Gee, that's... yeah, he definitely needs to back out of it a little bit and just either bring it home or calm it down a little bit. He's kind of being a bit aggressive. I think he may have overheated those rears a bit, and that's not going to have helped him. If he can back it down just a little bit less than what he is currently, he should be able to recover those rears and close that gap back up as Bugler's making a move, trying to make a move on Addis here. This is the spot for the final spot on the top 5 as Bugler's got a good run of the final corner. They're going to go side by side into turn 1 and 2. Who's going to have the biggest balls in them all going into turn number 2? It's going to be Bugler by the looks of it. No, Bugler's outbraked himself and tried to go late apex on. He's run to the side of Bramley there. So he hasn't actually realised Bramley's suddenly come along. So he's tried to do a late apex and it's actually backfired on him a little bit as Bramley's gone around in the background. No, he hasn't actually. He's held onto it, but it's definitely not helped him at all. So Bramley, Ned is coming straight back across the nose of Bugler, and there's contact a little bit. Nathan is sideways through the back section of the circuit. Big curb hop from both of them there. Bramley just in the background. This battle for the minors at the moment is very heated indeed, with only 2 laps to go. There'll be 1 lap to go into this time by for these 3. David Stevens currently your race leader. He's definitely walked away with this one. But the battle at the moment is on screen for just inside the top 5 for 5th, 6th and 7th between Bugler, Addis and Bramley. Dunsford not actually too far behind Bramley at the moment, and Oaks isn't too far behind Dunsford, so possibly could have quite the little battle on our hands. I'm not sure if Addis or Bramley are going to be able to recover here after their earlier mistakes. I think it may have allowed Bugler to get away too much. Possibly, not sure, but it looks like David Stevens has got this one all wrapped up and done, and he will take the win for race number... No, actually, I've actually got that wrong. It's 2 laps to go. My mistake. I've called it early. Whoops. That was an optical illusion and a half. I do apologise. It is 1 lap to go this time by for the field. I'm not quite sure how I've made that mistake, but anyway. As Bugler's actually Bugler's going to go through and go on a I'm not sure. Bugler's underfueled. So Bugler's having to do a double stop to refuel his car. He's actually almost run out of fuel, so he's not put enough fuel in the car to make it the whole distance of just doing it on 1 stop. So now Addis moves up into 5th position and Bramley into 6th. Dunsford, Oaks, Derek, Dance, and I think Wilds might actually go by. Yes, he will. So Bugler falls down into 12th, and Bugler will actually finish a lap down because of that error. So David Stevens has actually taken the win by quite a margin, 10 seconds by the looks of it. Trevor Wilson will finish 3rd. Peter Reid will finish... Trevor Wilson 2nd. Peter Reid 3rd. Daniel Kinsman's all over the rear end of him, and it's possibly going to be a race to the line. No, Peter Reid's got it. It's going to be Peter Reid 3rd, Daniel Kinsman 4th. This battle for the top 5 is not quite over, but it's looking like Addis is going to hold on to it. So Nathan Addis, if he doesn't get it wrong out of the final corner here, no commentator's curse, that's good. He will finish 5th in the final top 5 position. 6th will go to Chris Bramley. 7th will go to Luke Dunsford. 8th will go to Taylor Oaks. 9th will go to Rob Derrick, just in the background, who was getting a bit sideways. 10th will go to Tony Dance to round out the top 10. 11th will go to Jason Wilds in what was a slightly more than battered up and bruised Cat Commodore earlier in the race after that lap 1 shenanigans. 12th will go to Trevor Christensen. 13th will go to Daniel Bugler after that pit stop error. And rounding out the rest of the field will be Paul Jaffa in 14th and Brian Hewson in 15th. So there is your order on screen at the moment. The top 13. We'll scroll down a little bit so you can see 14th and 15th. And that is your race 1 results. So we'll be back shortly for race number 2, which will also be 20 laps and 1 pit stop, and hopefully just as exciting. So we'll see you shortly, and hope you can join us for the rest of the night.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches, entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Righto, welcome back to the 2017, to round 8 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League from Townsville for race number 2 of the night. Another 20-lap race with one compulsory pit stop for the guys currently racing tonight. Brian Houston on pole for the reverse grid. No, Paul Jeffer, sorry, with Brian Houston on the front row. Lights are about to come on, and they've come on, and we are away and racing. It's looking like a good start from Paul Jeff. Then they're going to go 3 wide in the background with Bugler, Christensen and Wilds, and they're all spreading out into turn 1 on contact between a couple of cars. On Bugler's on the fence. On Edison, Oakson on, Braden, Derek and on, Christensen on, Houston, and a number of cars involved. A massive shun. That is an absolute, on, Derek's on his side. That's an absolutely massive crash into turn 1. An absolute massive crash. I think we're going to need a restart with that. Alrighty, take number 2 of the second race of the night. We shall try that again as the lights are coming on. 4 lights. Lights down and away we go for race number 2 again. It looks like Daniel Kinsman with a great start there in the background, as well as Nathan Harris, and a good start from Paul Jaffer and Byron Houston as they lead into turn 1 on contact. On Wilds in the pit. Derek and Dunsford on, Edison on, Bjorklund dancing, Jaffer on, a massive incident. There's just a massive pile-up in the background there. On Bramley's involved, oh, there's just cars everywhere. An absolutely massive accident. All sorts going on in a turn 1. As Kinsman just cuts the corner there in the background. So we'll actually grab a replay of what's actually unfolded in turn 1 there. So we'll go above to have a look at what happens. So they're just about 4 wide there at one point. So it looks like Wilds got sent into the fence, then turned by Oakes, and then Addis and Reed have come together. Oakes and Derek have come together as there's more carnage unfolding. Dunsford's gone right up on 2 wheels. So there's just more, and then there's more carnage unfolding as Dancer gets hit. It's just all sorts happening. Take number 3 instead, as the lights go out and away we go for take number 3. Unfortunately, it's been a bit of a hectic start to race number 2 in this reverse grid as there's more bumping and barging. It's going to be another not quite as bad of a pile-up, but there's a couple of cars bouncing off walls. It's not quite going to be, or a bit of a pile-up further back between Addison. There's going to be all sorts going on in the middle of the pack. They're going to go 3 wide just about on Wilson and Bramley. On Stevenson. Oh, Jesus. On. Take number, I don't even know now. It's just been so many, it's ridiculous. There's just been all sorts going on. So we'll try again for race 2. The lights are on, lights are on, away we go. Good start from Paul Jaffa there and a number of guys, and we're going to go just about 4 wide. Hopefully there's going to be no carnage into turn 1, and there is a couple of cars bouncing off walls. As it looks like Kinsman's actually been rotated, Taylor Oaks has been rotated, Dance has been rotated, oh, and Watts in the wall. Oh, and there's just carnage going everywhere. It's just going off in the turn on lap 1. So there's just going to be all sorts going on. Come post-race with the race control, it's just going to be absolutely insane what's going to be happening behind the scenes with penalties and everything. As everybody makes it through turn 1, lap 1, sorry. So as everybody's calming down, it's looking like everybody has made their way pretty much single file now. Pretty action-packed to the point where we can't actually really, well, I can't commentate on what's going on really. There's too much to focus on, as we've got quite a battle for just inside the top 10, as Dunsford and Reen and Stevens have all been involved in an incident there. Not quite the start we're looking for at the moment. It's been pretty well packed in terms of what's happened. All sorts going on with carnage. We do apologise for the quite a while of silence. The driving standards, myself, and a couple of other things have been taking place in the background. We do apologise for the silence, as it was quite a mess with what has happened in this race and a little bit in the first race. It's a bit uncalled for, to be honest, but anyway, we're moving on. We'll start actually commentating on what's happening in this race now that it's calmed down a bit to what it normally should be. Currently leading is Daniel Bugler, followed by Jason Wilds in second. Daniel Kinsman sits third. David Stevens fourth. He has currently made his pit stop. Peter Reid has also made his pit stop, and he is currently sitting fifth. Paul Jaffa is yet to make his stop as well, and he sits sixth. Yes, he is. Trevor Wilson, and then the rest of the field goes down to Trevor Wilson in 7th. 8th goes to Chris Bramley. 9th is Nathan Addis. 10th is Taylor Oakes as Jason Wilds comes into pit lane, as well as Daniel Kinsman. So your effective race lead at this point is David Stevens. 11th will be Rob Derrick. Trevor Christensen 12th. Luke Dunsford, and then you go back to Tony Dance and Brian Hewson, who has been DQ'd for some... I think he jumped the start, but I'm not exactly sure. But anyway, there will be a lot to go over in terms of the replays afterwards. So quite a busy and action-packed first couple of laps. Not quite ideal in terms of driving standards, but anyway, quite entertaining. But yeah, so it's looking like everybody, currently at the moment, it's, now that we're halfway, it's starting to see a number of pit stop cycles happening. A couple of guys yet to pit by the looks of it. And a couple of guys have pitted already. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in terms of who comes out where. Effectively, your race leader is David Stevens, as Daniel Bugler has entered pit lane at the moment, as Stevens is just coming through the final sector now, so he will jump Bugler. I would say Peter Reid is your effective second place driver, as he is coming through the final sector now as well. Bugler's stopped in his box by the looks of it. He's leaving his box now. Dunsford's also in the pit lane. He had to pit earlier due to the damage that he sustained early in the race. There's Peter Reid in the background along with Tony Dance. So actually Bugler will hold on to second place, as I just ran out of breath. So Peter Reid will sit third effectively at the moment. Fourth is Trevor Wilson. He's made his stop. Daniel Kinsman has made his stop, so he's fifth for sure. Jason Wilds in 6th has made his pit stop as well. So is Chris Bramley, who's in 7th. 8th, Nathan Addis has as well. And he's also invalidated a lap by the looks of it. So that'll be interesting for race control to look at. So it looks like everybody's now pretty much made their pit stop by the looks of it. So the field is cleansed in terms of who needs to do a pit stop. Peter Reid just in the background of Daniel Bugler. This is going to be an interesting battle to see what happens, as Reid did a 1 minute 11.899, whereas Bugler did a, what did he do this lap? He did a 1 minute 15, actually we'll have a look what they did on lap 11 as they both went in the pit. So Bugler did a 1 minute 12.891, whereas Peter Reid did an 11.620. So Reid somewhat got a better pace advantage, although Bugler's got fresher tyres, so it is going to be interesting to see what happens in terms of who's going to be where. Well, sorry, who's going to come out, well, who's going to end up where, because of the fact that Bugler's got newer tyres, but Peter Reid's probably got the better pace. It looks like the entire field is pretty well spread out. This looks like it's probably the closest battle on track at the moment between Bugler and Reed at the moment for the final spots on the podium. It's looking like it's close between Daniel Kinsman and Trevor Wilson for 4th position, as Paul Jaffe comes out of lane there in front of Daniel Bugler. So we'll have a look at this battle at the moment. So Bugler in that last lap did a 1 minute 12.979, and Peter Reed did a 1 minute 12.4. So Reed's got a little bit of pace, and not sure if there was contact there between Bugler and Jaffa, and Jaffa's looped it. So I'd have to say there might have been a little bit of contact from Bugler just to get Jaffa out of the way a little bit. Blue flags were enforced, so not sure whether there was contact. Race control will obviously have to look at that afterwards, but yeah, that might be a case of a racing incident. But as I said, race control will have to look at it afterwards, which they will. So moving on to the battle currently on screen, it's looking like Peter Reed is closing in a little bit here. Not too quickly, but is closing ever so slightly and consistently. 5 laps to go, so it'll be interesting to see whether Reed can actually catch Bugler here, and whether he will actually manage to get on into second on the podium. Apparently, battle going on for the minors at the moment for 8th place, I believe, and that's pretty much the closest battle on track. So we'll have a look at that now between Nathan Addison and Taylor Oakes, as Paul Jaffe in there, and as we're just scanning through off on the track. I think he got that wrong on the zone. By the looks of it, he did. Oh, and a big 2 wheels moment there from Nathan Addis going over the curb. Plenty of curb use from the guys tonight, by the looks of it. It's been, oh, and Addis bouncing off the wall as well, so quite the aggressive driving from Addis there. Try and get every 100th out of the setup and lap there, as Nathan's just about looped it there, coming out of the final corner, and that's going to give Oakes the run into the first corner. Oakes is going to be in the draft. He's going to pull out as they head into towards turn 1. No, never mind. Addis goes defensive into turn 2. Oakes is on the outside. Addis holds onto the position. Oakes is possibly going to get him here. No, he won't. He's not quite close enough. So Addis will hold on to that position just. This is the battle for the minors just inside the top 10. The battle for 8th place at the moment. Oh, Addis running a little bit wide there through turn 5. Taylor Oakes now all over the back end, and Addis actually almost rolls it there. Managed to just hold on to it, and as he was on 2 wheels there. The cars do seem to grip up quite a bit when you are on 2 wheels, surprisingly enough, I've found. And obviously, as you see. So these guys do actually have to be somewhat careful when they do use a bit of curb, that the car doesn't overgrip and roll over on them. This battle seems to have stabilised a little bit at the moment. Oh, Addis runs a little bit wide there. That's going to give the advantage to Taylor Oakes. A little bit of an advantage, but not too much. It's definitely closed the gap, that's for sure. Looks like a couple of battles are forming as well elsewhere on track. We'll have a look at those later, but I'll keep an eye on them for the time being on my other screen. Currently focus on this battle at hand as Addis runs wide and just about takes out Taylor Oaks in the process. They're very close moment as Oaks looks to possibly go up the inside, but he backs out of him, possibly looking to get a good run onto the straightaway here, which he has done into the final corner, and he's going to go up, well, he's going to be on the outside in turn 1 and 2 as Oaks has got the run. He's got a very good run indeed. He's going to try and go around the outside. They're side by side of this. So they head through turn 1, head into turn 2. Who's going to be deep enough under brakes? No, Addis runs a little bit wide. Now Oaks is going to be up the inside into turn 3. Oaks is going to have the run. He's going to be just slightly ahead. Addis is going to have to back out of it unless he can hold it. No, he's going to back out of it. Oh, a little bit skatey. Under brakes, and they're side by side, all rubbing panels and doors. Addis lets him by, and Oaks will get that position. So he'll move into P8 at the moment. So... oh, and Addis taking a bit of curb there and actually going 4-wheelers off onto the grass. Oh, and Addis with a big moment on 2 wheels. He's definitely been using that curb a lot. Definitely providing some quite exciting shots, actually. And scenes. Slow Tony Dance there. I'm not sure why. He may well be out of fuel, actually, now that I think about it. So that's quite interesting to know. I'm not sure how he's run out of fuel there. He may have dragged that stint on a little bit too long, actually, which it looks like he has by the looks of it. So Tony Dance has actually parked it pretty much in pit lane by the looks of it, so that's not ideal, that's for sure. Oh, and a big moment from Nathan Addis who just goes around the outside of Taylor Oaks. Taylor Oaks is going to get him back here. Is it going to come around the final corner? It's going to be side by side on the final lap. Who's going to get it? Taylor Oaks is currently ahead. Nathan Addis has made a bit of a mistake there, and it's cost him a bit. Is he going to get the position back? It's going to be interesting as they head through the final corner. Nathan Addis is going to look to go around the outside. Oaks is defensive. Addis is going to look to get the run through, and he's giving Taylor Oaks a bit of a bum. It's going to be very close as they come across the line, but Oaks is looking like he's going to get it. Yes, he's going to get 8th place as he crosses the line. Nathan Addis will take 9th position. What a race to the line there. For the minors, top 10 will go to, the final top 10 spot will go to Rob Derrick, 11th will go to Trevor Christensen, 12th will go to Luke Dunsford, 13th will go to Paul Jaffa, 14th will go to Tony Dance. And that is pretty much your field. We'll run through the rest of the field actually while we're at it. So currently on screen your finishing order. David Stevens wins race number 2 to make it 2 for 2 at the moment. Daniel Bugler will finish 2nd. 3rd will be Peter Reid. 4th will be Daniel Kinsman. 5th will be Jason Wilds. 6th will be Chris Bramley. 7th and 8th will be Trevor Wilson and Taylor Oaks respectively. 9th and 10th will be Nathan Addis and Rob Derrick. Trevor Christensen, Luke Dunsford, Paul Jaffa, and Tony Dance and Brian Hewson round up the rest of the field. So we'll be back shortly for race number 3, which will hopefully be a little bit cleaner than race number 2, but hopefully just as exciting. So we hope to see you in a few minutes' time.
The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377. The world's best racing car simulators are now available for your personal and corporate entertainment. We manufacture for sale or hire open wheel and saloon car simulators. Don't bore your guests with long speeches. Entertain them with something a little different at your corporate events. Set an impression that lasts forever with our car simulators. Put the brakes on your busy schedule and call us today on 0800 497 377.
Hello and welcome back for race number 3 of round 8 of the 2017 Hyper Stimulator New Zealand Supercars League. Hopefully we will have a little bit cleaner of a run and we can do it in one take this time for once, as race 2 is quite interesting to say the least. Everybody is on the grid, the lights coming on now. 4 lights. Lights are on, away we go. Good start from Tony Nuts as he goes straight up the middle of Brian Houston and Paul Jaffer and Trevor Christensen, and he will take the lead of the race in turn 1. What a start from him. Oh, there's big contact on, more carnage on, cars everywhere. Taylor Oakes, Daniel Kinsman, Daniel Bugler around. David Stevens as well. Jason Wild's involved, and just about everybody to some extent. It looks like Paul Jaffer as well. That's a number of cars involved. Quite the start. We'll quickly grab a replay of what's happened. Not sure exactly what's happened there. We'll have a look. Oh, so Derek's bounced off Jaffer, and also I believe that is Brian Houston's bounced off someone, Jason Wilds, and then they've both fired into the wall. Dunsford's been hit by Jaffer, and then the track's pretty much been blocked from there. Bugler's been hit by Kinsman. Reed's run into the back of Stevens. It's, yeah, that's an absolute mess heading into turn 1. Chris Brimley actually slowing down just about to a stop to make it through there. So, oh, and then Jaffer's been hit by Dunsford, so that's quite the start there. Appears there hasn't been too much more after that, I believe. We'll quickly have a look as Dave Stevens just making his way through. On Bugler with a bit of a moment there in turn 1. Dunsford has readdressed by the looks of it on something. We're back live now. So Addis has had a moment there. I'm not sure what's happened, but currently we're looking at the mid-pack battle for just inside the top 10. Luke Dunsford, Jason Wilds, Nathan Addis, Taylor Oakes, Daniel Bugler, and Paul Jaffer by the looks of it, all involved. Multi-car trainers, they're all going across the chicane as Jace Dunsford just holds onto it there as Jason Wilds tries to go up the inside, just almost losing it under brakes as well. Tony Darts currently leads this race after that excellent start into turn 1 off the grid. So as and Wilds is up the inside, that's a bit of a hit from that's a bit of a hit from Addis, towards Addis, sorry. So that's, Jason's obviously readdressed that. Luke's gonna go up the inside of Oakes. No, he's not. Never mind. So as everybody flares out and starts to find, we'll get into a rhythm more or less. We'll start to see a little bit better driving standards, I would say. Everybody seems to have started to calm down a little bit. As Nathan is trying to make a move on Paul Jaffer there. Jason Wilds trying to come back at him. Jason Wilds all over the back end of I was just about to say Jason Wilds there. Nathan Harris I was meaning, as Luke Dunsford is going to go up the inside of Taylor Oakes in the background there. No, he's not. On. As Nathan Harris is trying to get on, Jason Wilds launching it up the inside of Paul Jaffer. That's a bit of a dive. As Nathan Harris is just having a couple of words about Paul Jaffer, who's currently racing for position with, as Taylor Oakes is on. Paul Jaffer's been hit by Jason Wilds. On. Jaffer's been hit by Nathan Harris. So, Oaks is looking up the inside of Jason Wilds there. But he doesn't quite get the move done. Wilds using a bit too much curb, and now Oaks is going to come back and possibly get the move done. No, he's not, never mind. Wilds is just going to hold on to that position as Addis using plenty of curb, everybody using plenty of curb there. As Wilds trying to make a move up the inside, probably not the corner to make it, as he's broke very late to try and get the best run, but he's not quite done it. As Oaks goes straight past Addis and Wilds there to move up into, I believe that's top 9th. Nathan Addis is now 10th, as Wilds is looking up the inside of Nathan Addis here. No, he's defending off Luke Dunsford there. About a 4-car battle for the top 10 here at the moment, just inside, as Luke Dunsford is looking to go up the inside of Jason Wilds, using 4 wheels over the curb there. Oh, Jason Wilds running plenty wide there. That's not going to have helped him. Oh, Jason Wilds running a little bit wide through the chicane, and I think he's actually collected the wall there. Running quite well now. Luke Dunsford is going to take advantage of that mistake, and he's going to slot into P11. Jason is now going to want to try and recover. We'll have a look at this battle for the top 10 between Nathan Addis and Taylor Oaks. Taylor not doing too bad for himself. Currently in the championship overall. A couple of these guys aren't actually doing too bad for themselves in the championship overall, actually. So I'm surprised some of these guys aren't playing it smart and trying to consolidate positions and gain points towards the championship, as Wilds just trying to find a way past Luke Dunsford there, going inside outside. But it's looking like Nathan Addis is going to hold on to this top 10 position. It's looking pretty close at the front of the field, but not as close as it currently is on screen at the moment. We'll jump to the battle at the front when it closes up a little bit more than it is at the moment. But meantime, we'll continue on with the battle at the moment for just inside the top 10 between Luke Dunsford, Jason Wilds and Nathan Addis. Nathan Addis probably going to take a 9th, if not recover to a even higher position. And it's looking like it's going to be a battle for the minus in this race. So I'll actually jump on board with Luke Dunsford here while he's chasing down Taylor Oaks and Nathan Addis. We'll actually stay on board with him for a while, and once he's completed the end of this lap, as he's coming through the final sector now, we'll go on board with him for a lap. See how he hauls around a Viet Supercar around the Townsville Street Circuit. As he hasn't done too bad for himself at the moment. Very good under brakes, actually. He's very strong by the looks of it, but then he just lacks that exit momentum by the looks of it. Possibly just over-braking himself, maybe. As he comes out of the final corner, we'll just go quiet for a lap here. On board with Luke Dunsford in the very classic Holden dealer team Holden Commodore livery for a lap around the Townsville Street Circuit. So that was 2 laps of the Townsville Street Circuit actually. We decided to go on one more lap with him as the battle was actually quite close with Taylor Oakes for the final top 10 spot, as Luke's just about looped it. He's made a bit of a mistake, and now Jason Wilds is going to come back at him. They're side by side as they head through turn 4. 3, 4, depending on who you ask, and how accurate you want to be, as I struggle to say one word. But yeah, oh, Jason Wilds in the background there, just getting him a little bit loose there on the throttle. But yeah, so anyway, continuing back, we're about halfway through this race, so we'll go through the order now. So Tony Dance currently leads this race, followed by Daniel Kinsman. Then you go back to Trevor Wilson and David Simmons, who are currently in pit lane. Then Daniel Bugler. Then Chris Bramley, who is also in pit lane. Trevor Christensen, who is also in pit lane. Rob Derrick, who is also in pit lane. Jason Wilds, Nathan Addis, and Taylor Oakes. And then Luke Dunsford, Nathan, Taylor, and Luke all in pit lane at the same time as well. Then we go back to Paul Jaffa, Brian Hewson, and then Peter Reid. So that rounds out the field at the moment. Obviously, everybody looking like they're wanting to get their pit stops out of the way at the moment. Rob Derrick and Trevor Christensen and Nathan Addis all leaving their pit box just at the moment. Luke Dunsford just pulling into his now. He's off the jacks. Fuel's still going in, and he's off out of his box. A little bit of a slower getaway than everybody else. He's lost a little bit of time to Taylor Oakes and Nathan Addis there. Daniel Kinsman in the background there has made a move on Tony Dance to take the lead of the race, and Paul Jeffers' car is emitting a bit of smoke by the looks of it. I'm not sure whether that's to do with the fact that he's covered his radiator up, or whether that was tyre smoke and he's put it in the fence. That's going to allow Luke Dunsford by. It's one way of obeying blue flags, but nevertheless, so the fact that this field has spread out a little bit more. We'll look at this battle between Nathan Addis and Rob Derrick at the moment. Nathan Addis is going to go up the inside of Rob Derrick. He's going to get the move done. Who's going to get it? I'd say Rob Derrick's going to get him around the outside. Yeah, he does indeed. The better run and smoother line around the outside there. It's not too easy to pass, but Nathan Addis is going to do the undercut here as they... No, he's not, actually. As they come down the front stretch into turn 1, Nathan's going to... No, he's not, actually. I thought he was going to try and make a move up the inside, but never mind. I am mistaken. Meanwhile, Daniel Bugler comes into pit lane to serve his compulsory pit stop. So, Daniel Kinsman, Tony Dance, and I think that is it in terms of who has done their pit stop, if I'm not mistaken. Having a look now. No, Brian Hewson is another one. Peter Reid has completed his. So it's looking like those two are the only ones who have not completed a pit stop yet, by the looks of it. So Daniel Kinsman and Tony Dance obviously leading this field. Trevor Christensen is about just under 30 seconds behind. Daniel Kinsman is pitting now, meanwhile. So this battle for just inside the top 10 for about 8th position is looking pretty feisty at the moment. Just ahead is Daniel Bugler and Trevor Christensen battling for 6th position at the moment. So very aggressive on the change of direction there from Rob and Nathan, as Nathan's going to go around the outside and take advantage of Rob Derrick's mistake there. So Nathan will move up into 8th position, and now Daniel Bugler is not too far behind. Trevor Christensen just in the foreground. Daniel Kinsman has just left pit lane by the looks of it. Chris Bramley has come back into pit lane. So maybe I think Bramley may have actually got a... Oh, he hasn't filled up enough. Oh, there must have... So Bramley's had an issue where he hasn't actually filled up enough, or there's been a problem where he hasn't actually been filled. So, oh no, he's done a splash and dash, so he hasn't actually filled up enough. So Bramley, the championship contender, obviously not having that great of a race, and he's obviously not filled up enough. So, not obviously a bit of a mistake there in terms of strategy from him. So he currently sits 12th at the moment. Almost a lap down, in fact. So that's not ideal. As Nathan Harris using plenty of curb there, as he's going to go, and oh, he looks up the inside. He poked his nose out just to say to Rob, hey, I'm here, just be ready. As they come through the final corner, no, Nathan Harris is not going to poke it up the inside. He's going to try and do the crossover here, and he's going to try and get as good of a run as possible, and so is Daniel Bugler in the foreground there. He's going to possibly try and make a move on Trevor Christensen here. As they're side by side, we'll quickly jump to that battle. Bugler's up the inside of Christensen here, and he's going to get... No, he's not. Oh, there might have been a little bit of contact there. Side by side. No, he hasn't got the move done. Nathan Addis also in the background there, looking like he's going to get the move done on Rob Derrick here. And Bugler's up the inside of Christensen, and he's got the move done. So that's move done for Bugler, and he moves up into 5th position, sorry. So we'll focus back on what's happening between Rob Derrick and Nathan Addis. Nathan Addis and Rob Derrick actually having quite a little bit of a good battle here. Peter Reid just in the background there, looking like he is a lap down. Yes, he is indeed. So he is currently out of contention, is trying to make his way back through the field. It's not looking like it's really going to do much. He's probably going to want to try and consolidate a position here. Obviously try and make his way back through the field as much as possible, but it's not really going to do much as far as overall finishing position will do. So it looks like Rob actually got a better run out of the final corner there than Nathan that last lap, and I believe Nathan is actually quicker by the looks of it. Yes, he is, I would say, as did 12.975 that last lap, whereas Rob Derrick did a 12... No, he's actually slower by a 10th, actually, my mistake. As Peter Reid is right behind Nathan Addis now, as Rob did a 12.814 that last lap. So Rob's actually closed that gap down to Trevor Christensen. So Christensen maybe being held up by Brian Hewson. Is they going to all go by? And whoa, a bit of lag there from Brian Hewson there by the looks of it. Obviously these Brian Hewson, Peter Reid, and oh, there's going to be... Oh, and Rob Derrick's been hit by... Oh, and there's a massive hit. Nathan Addis has hit Rob Derrick into the tyres there, so that's... As Tony Dunce actually is in pit lane there by the looks of it, but Nathan Addis obviously having a bit of a kerfuffle there with Rob Derrick and Peter Reid there. I'm not exactly sure what's happened there. I'm not sure whether whether Nathan was hit by Peter Reid or whether he was just whether the car was unbalanced, but I'm sure race control will have a look at it later. Is Hewson getting a loose, and Reid goes around in the background as well. So Peter Reid, one of the quicker drivers in this field, makes another mistake. Very quick he is, but he doesn't seem to be doing too well in terms of consistency. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does come enduro time, as obviously with 2 rounds after this till enduros, it's obviously going to come down to being consistent rather than purely fast as far as these guys go, and who's going to be more or less the enduro champion and race champion, more or less. with it obviously being a 3-round championship and obviously 4 races, being the Gold Coast being a double header. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens. Obviously Peter being paired up with Ben Rothberg, that'll be the strongest combination of the lot. Nathan Addis pairing up with current race leader, I believe. No, he's sitting second actually. My mistake. David Stevens. So that'll be another strong combination actually. So a lot of these guys will be using this time to not only get ready for Enduros, as Trevor Christensen actually gets a little bit loosely, a little bit rally style, but not quite fully. But as I was saying, a lot of these guys will be using this time to be getting ready for Enduros and make sure they're up to scratch and up and on pace with their fellow competitors to try and win not only the races but also the Enduro Cup, as Christensen and Nathan has both done a bit of tandem rally style through turn 6 there, as Addis is going to go up the inside. No, Christensen's going to hold it around the outside actually. Nathan Addis is now, he looked. Nathan Addis looked up the inside of Christensen there. And it's looking like Addis may possibly set this corner up to try and get as good of a run out of the corner to get into turn 2 ahead of Christensen here. Oh, and Christensen's run wide. So that's allowed Nathan Addis to go straight through into P number 6. And shuffle Trevor Christensen down into P7. Oh, Christensen running very wide through turn 1 there, with 2 laps to go for the field. We'll quickly jump back to the battle further back between, and Dunsford getting hit by Bramley there. So this battle, and Dunsford's put it in the fence, and that's allowed Bramley to go straight through. So Bramley now moves up into a top 10 position, so he's coming back through the field, not quick, but he is recovering after pretty well staying out of trouble, but he did almost get involved in that turn 1 lap 1 incident as Oakes runs wide. We'll have a look at Bramley actually, as he's just casually sliding it through a number of these corners. He may, and he's put it in the fence again, and he's put it in the fence again after that. Dunsford's going to come back at him here. He's going to go defensive, but no, he's going to hold on to it. Dunsford's going to look, and he's going to go over the curb. Bramley possibly just, and Dunsford gets it loose as well. So both these guys possibly just struggling on their rears a little bit. Bramley backing it into the corner as well. So Bramley possibly lacking some rear tyre rubber life at the moment, with the fact that he is having trouble with the fact that it's breaking loose under brakes and on entry. That was close. And on the throttle as well, so he may want to be a little bit softer on that right pedal so he can bring it home. He doesn't want to lose too many positions here, as he does need to consolidate that championship after all. Bit of a wiggle there through turn 6, as he's just drifting it. Yeah, I'd say those rears are pretty well used, but it's going to be Trevor Wilson, sorry. Trevor Wilson has won the race, with David Stevens second, Daniel Kinsman third, Tony Dunst fourth, Daniel Bugle fifth, Nathan Addis will finish 6th, 7th will be Trevor Christensen, 8th will go to Rob Derrick if he can hold it on. Coming to the line, it's going to be close. No, he's just held onto it as he comes across the line. Taylor Oakes will take 9th, Chris Bramley 10th, rounds out the top 10. 11th will go to Luke Dunsford as he races Brian Hewson to the line. 12th will go to Jason Wilds, 13th will go to Brian Hewson, 12th will go to Peter Reid, 14th, sorry. 15th will go to Paul Jaffa, sorry, and that rounds out the field. So another fairly action-packed and carnage-filled race. So yeah, thank you. That's pretty much the night's racing over and done with. A lot of action and a lot of carnage as well. So yeah. So we hope you all join us for round number 9 at Queensland Raceway in a couple of weeks' time on the, I'll take it a minute, 7th of August. So hopefully another lot of good racing. It's mainly, I would say it's probably going to be the oval of the championship, to be honest, in terms of the fact that it is mainly one-sided in terms of right-handing corners. So it'll hopefully be close in terms of who stands where, and it'll be a matter of racecraft, more or less. So we hope to see you on the 7th of August for round number 9 at Queensland Raceway of the championship. Chris Bramley will go into that round leading the championship. The rest of the field will be pretty close as well, I would say. But its points are provisional at the moment for the night, after the fact that there will probably be quite a few penalties applied. But otherwise, thank you for joining us, and we hope to see you next time for round number 9 at Queensland.